You're brushing your teeth. It's a Tuesday night, nothing is happening. And then your brain hands you something from 2014. The time you waved back at someone who wasn't waving at you. The person who saw it forgot you by lunch. You have been rehearsing it for 11 years. This is called a cringe attack. The average adult brain produces dozens of involuntary memories like this every day. Most pass through unnoticed. A small fraction make you flinch in front of the bathroom mirror. The reason has nothing to do with what you did. It has to do with what your brain was built for. The mechanism starts in the amygdala. It sits deep in your temporal lobe, about the size of an almond, and its job is to assign emotional weight to incoming experience. When something happens that triggers stress hormones, the amygdala signals the rest of your brain to file that memory with extra priority. Adrenaline and cortisol act like a highlighter. The more chemical flood, the brighter the highlight, the deeper the memory burns in. This system kept your ancestors alive. The time you almost stepped on a snake at age 6 is still vivid because your brain decided you might need it. Neutral memories fade, charged ones stay. But the system was calibrated for a different threat profile. For 99% of human evolution, you lived in a group of 50 to 150 people. Your survival depended on staying inside that group. Getting expelled meant exposure, starvation, or being eaten. There was no migration option. There were no other tribes that wanted strangers. If your group rejected you, you died. So the amygdala evolved to treat humiliation the way it treats predators. The tag for social danger got the same priority as the tag for thing that wants to eat you. Your brain still does this. It cannot tell the difference. To the system that decides what to remember, getting laughed at and getting attacked belong to the same category of event. That explains the burn-in. The next part explains why it loops. In 2003, neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA put volunteers in an fMRI scanner and had them play a virtual ball-tossing game called Cyberball. Halfway through, the other players stopped throwing the ball to them. The volunteers watched themselves get excluded in real time by strangers they would never meet. The regions that lit up in their brains were the same ones that activate during physical pain. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the anterior insula, the exact hardware your nervous system uses when you stub your toe or burn your hand. To your brain, being left out and being injured are processed by identical circuits. Eisenberger's paper appeared in Science. It has been replicated for 2 decades. So your brain registers humiliation as physical injury. But that does not yet explain why it replays it. For that, we have to look at what your brain does when nothing else is happening. Whenever you are not focused on a specific task, showering, driving, brushing teeth, falling asleep, a particular network of brain regions starts firing in coordinated rhythm. Neuroscientists call it the default mode network. It runs autobiographical simulations. It pulls memories, plays them, edits them, projects them into the future. It is the engine of mind wandering, and it is where your sense of self lives. Here's the part that matters. The default mode network does not pull memories at random. It preferentially selects high-intensity ones, the ones the amygdala tagged, which means every time your conscious attention drops, your brain quietly opens the file labeled social danger and starts replaying. Danish memory researcher Dorothy Berntsen at Aarhus University has spent 25 years studying this. She gives subjects journals and asks them to log every memory that surfaces during the day without being summoned. Her finding, involuntary memories are more emotionally intense than memories you call up on purpose. They skew negative, and they preferentially feature moments of social exposure, times you were watched, judged, or rejected. Berntsen's data suggests the average adult has dozens of these per day. The bathroom mirror flinch is not a special event. It is the visible part of a process running constantly underneath your attention. There is one more piece. Even granting that the system burns in social failures and replays them, you might assume it does so accurately. That whatever embarrassed you back then was at least a real event seen by real witnesses. Cornell psychologist Thomas Gilovich tested this assumption in 2000. He had college students put on a Barry Manilow t-shirt, walk into a room full of other students, and predict how many would notice. The students estimated 50%. The actual number was 23%. Gilovich called it the spotlight effect, the consistent overestimation of how much other people notice you. He has replicated it across 20 years of follow-up studies with embarrassing clothes, bad haircuts, public mistakes. The number rarely moves, So your cringe attack at 11 p.m. is operating on 3 errors at once. Eisenberger, the amygdala tagged the original moment as physical injury when it was not. Bernstein, the default mode network pulls it into rotation dozens of times a day because it ranks as high priority. Gilovich, the spotlight effect made you believe everyone in the room saw it, when most of them did not even register the event. The person who witnessed your worst moment forgot it within the hour. Your brain has been replaying it for years, so why does the system never update? Why doesn't your brain learn that the 2014 waveback was harmless and stop dredging it up? Because it is not designed to update, it is designed to repeat. In a tribe of 100 people, your reputation was your life support. One serious social misstep could mean exile. The system that tagged your humiliations and replayed them during quiet moments was not malfunctioning when it kept the memory alive. It was making sure you never repeated the move that almost got you exiled. There is no off switch because there was never supposed to be one. In the environment your nervous system was built for, the danger was always still there. The same 100 faces every day. The same reputation following you for life. Exile was permanent. The memory had to be permanent too. Then something changed. For most of human history, an embarrassing moment had 2 natural protections built into the world. It was witnessed by a small number of people who shared your daily life, and it disappeared the moment it ended. No record, no replay, just human memory slowly fading. Both protections have been stripped out in 2 specific historical moves. The first was urbanization. In 1800, around 95% of humans lived in villages and small towns. The people who saw your bad day were the people you saw every day for the rest of your life. By 2007, for the first time in history, more than half of humanity lived in cities. The audience for your social mistakes shifted from the same 100 faces forever to millions of strangers you would never see again. The threat structure your brain was built for, where reputation followed you, had quietly stopped existing. The second was recording. In 1839, photography became practical. By the 1890s, you could capture motion. By the 2000s, every person carried a camera and a network that distributed images worldwide in seconds. For 300,000 years, an embarrassing moment ended when the witnesses walked away. Now it can persist forever, on a server, accessible to people who weren't even there. The brain that evolved to remember social failures so it could avoid repeating them is now operating in an environment where those failures can be replayed externally, by anyone, indefinitely. The internal replay system was never updated. It just keeps running, on top of an external replay system it doesn't know about. And there is a word for what your body does when this fires. It is older than you would expect. Cringe comes from the Old English cringen. It originally meant to bend or give way in battle, the posture of a body collapsing under a blow. Medieval English used it for soldiers yielding to attack. The modern emotional cringe is named after the physical one because they share circuitry. When your mind replays a humiliation, your body executes a tiny version of the original defeat. Shoulders draw in, face heats. You exhale sharp. You have just been struck by a memory the same way your ancestors were struck by a club. The cringe attack you will have tomorrow morning, somewhere between the toothbrush and the coffee, is a 300,000-year-old subroutine running on hardware that was never updated. Your amygdala will hand the file to your default mode network, which will play it during a low attention moment, which will trigger a small somatic flinch in your shoulders and face. The same response your ancestors had when they were physically struck. The moment will involve a person you cannot name. They forgot you the same week. The room you embarrassed yourself in does not exist anymore. The version of you that did the thing is gone. None of this matters to the system replaying it. The system was built when forgetting could kill you. For most of human history, the people in your life were the only people in your life. Memory of social failure was survival information. The audience for your mistakes was permanent, and the mistakes themselves were temporary. Both of those facts have been reversed. The audience has been replaced with strangers and machines. The mistakes have been made permanent. Your brain is the only part of the system that still operates by the original rules. While you read this, the network is already pulling files. The 2014 waveback, the wrong name at the wedding, the text you sent to the wrong person, the thing you said in 8th grade where you still remember the pattern of the ceiling tiles in the room you said it in. The version of you in those moments is gone. The witnesses are gone. The tribes were never there. Your brain will replay them anyway. It was built for a world where it had to.